and try and get as much out of that as he can. And then, you know, he's remembering that the tour hasn't been there for 8 years, so that's an important move. And what's he expecting from the IBU after the Congress they held here last week? Well, he says they've created this working group, and they've got some points to work on. He thinks this group is going to be very powerful. Of course, he's on it. Lowell Bailey is on it as well, and that's an athlete that he trusts implicitly. And he's hoping that the athletes can lead the revolution. And, well, I think you, Mike, would agree that that is the only way things are going to change in terms of doping.
It seems so, and well done to Martin for taking the initiative there as well.
In 7. So, nice to hear from Martin Fourcade. He's going to have his work cut out today unless the rest of his team can pull their socks up. Beatrix Fillon-Maillet, Dessieux, underperforming so far.
It's very much so, and a lot of it is down to the shooting, and he alluded to the difficulty. Yes, it's easy sitting watching as we do on the range. It's very difficult when your pulse is thumping at 10 below max when you come in to shoot. And I love the way that Martin avoided the result from the World Championships last year. They finished 9th. He just forgets the negatives, and there wasn't much that he could do to pull back time.
So, time to pick a favourite. Of course, it is a 4x7.5 course, so the loop is only 2.5 kilometres. Bjorn Dahlen, even at 43, he's a valuable member, a crucial member of the Norwegian team.
Oh, he really, really is. And you know, I was just thinking earlier this morning, how much longer will he go on? Yes, Pyeongchang, who knows? I'd love to see him racing 5 years' time at the next, not just Pyeongchang Olympics, but the one 4 years after that.
The older brother will be handing over to the younger. There's Sergei Semenov for Ukraine. He's taking leg number 2. And Pigdrushny is the man, if they're in touch, who's going to have to chase the likes of Shemp, Shipulin and Johannes Tingesbo. So it's going to be a tough day for him. And, of course, Martin Fourcade, who's one of the anchor leg runners. We haven't mentioned the Czech Republic so far. Thomas Krupčík will be the first away for them. And the Czech Republic lying second in the medal table. I think we could see something special from them.
Well, I had a chat with Andre Ribar, and he was playing it down, maybe just trying to take pressure off. He said, yeah, we've had a great championships. The relay special, he still believes in his team has a chance. I would love to see them take another medal.
degrees C, the temperature, and that proving a little bit of a problem. Let's have a look at the tracks here in Hochfilzen. It's the traditional start. They head down the valley, an easy section to start with. Quite a steep climb there at the turn, Mike.
It is.
The hard work really when you get back to the stadium.
That's right. This entrance to the high point at least, then you've some recovery, then another climb up before the drop down, and then the little climb up into the range. And the pace, Patrick, without a doubt, 26 on that start grid. The pace is going to be dynamic.
Well, there you get to see exactly where the climbs are. Oleana Bjorn Dahlen just being introduced to the crowd here in Hochfilzen, hugely popular. I don't think there's any doubt that actually the biggest cheer of the whole championships was for Lowell Bailey when he won the individual.
That was great, and so many people alluding to that, the audience were there behind the man that's been around a long time and put it together at the World Championships when he wanted it most. Yeah,
the 12,000 people crammed around the stadium enjoying that one, but I could still hear Max Cobb's voice above the rest. He was over the moon, and so he should be, of course, with America's first individual title. Well, there are the Austrian team. Fingers crossed for them. They need some good news. Mesetic, Eberhardt, Ada, Landertinger, all top athletes on their day. They've just got to find some magic from somewhere. The Czech Republic, they're dangerous, and if they shoot well, if they shoot 0.405, they could be in the running for a medal. The Italians, well, they won in Oberhof, but you have to go all the way back to 2012 for that particular win, and they were extraordinary conditions, so I think it's an outside chance for them. What about Bulgaria, Mike? They shoot pretty well.
They've been shooting excellent. Iliev taking the anchor leg, he's reliable. Anev on the first leg, he's also very reliable.
Team 10, Switzerland, Finello, Vega, Dolder, Wiesner. Certainly not out of the running. the Canadians proved that the minor teams can win medals. They did it in Oslo 12 months ago. Gao, Davis and Green. They'll be trying to inspire themselves with that performance in Oslo. Kazakhstan, they've had their problems, but they're on the start line. Savitsky it is who starts off their efforts today. And then Slovenia 13, Slovakia 14, Estonia 15, and Sweden 16. "26 teams. Number 1 is Germany. Number 26, Great Britain. And Scott Dixon taking the first leg. You can just see his legs there. He's in pretty good ski shape, actually, Mike, and he shot much better in the individual, so a chance that he could stay with the pace at least until the first shoot. So we'll see how they get underway. Who wants to lead out of the stadium? The tracks are soft. There's not much wind to play with, Mike, so no one will be looking to shelter from the wind.
No, that's right. I just wonder who's going to take the initiative. You would expect Russia, Norway or Germany to try and push the pace quite strong at the front. 26 nations. It's been a while since we've had so many on the start grid at a World Championships.
Lesser it is who leads out of the stadium. Bjorndalen in second for Norway. Volkov of Russia in 3. Bulgaria have moved up well. That's Krasimir Anev, who's got himself up into the top 4. Those at the back, including Scott Dixon, absolutely no chance of getting through the field. You've just got to be patient on an occasion like this.
Well, that's right, a major traffic jam, and we'll see that especially going into the steeper climbs. All those at the back will be skiing into the skis of those in front of them.
Danny Mesetic trying to get a clean start. Just looking for him now. He's down in around 7th place for the Austrians. Skis seem to be gliding well. Mike, these tracks are slightly better prepared than the ones we were on this morning.
Well, when we were out this morning, the skis are pressing so deep into the snow. It's so wet. And I think we will see that as the athletes go around this course so many times. 3 times around the 2.5-kilometre lap.
But even though these tracks are firmer, it's one of those days where you want to keep the ski as flat as possible. As soon as we put the skis on the edge, we disappeared up to our ankles. They haven't got those sort of conditions, but I still think those who glide with flat skis are going to find themselves in a better position, and no one does it better than Bjorndalen.
Do you know, I was just looking at him there, and he floats. As you say, he's putting compression through the edges, but it's not as brutal and strong as Volkov at the front, putting a lot of force through each edge to get the propulsion forward. Bjorndalen just floating across the surface.
And the Germans generally ski with a lot of compression, a lot of power through the legs. So we'll see whether that proves to be their undoing today. They're looking to make it 6 gold medals, which would be a phenomenal tally for the championships.
Well, there's a lot of nibbling and argy-bargy going on, and it's just traffic. The skis are 2 meters long. It's difficult when you're side by side. Low Bailey pushing his way forward. That's a lot of effort.
Tricky corner for a packed group, and most getting round unscathed.
What about Chappellin? He's managed to get halfway from start position, halfway down the field. He's up with it at the front there, bib number 17, Chappellin, the Belarus.
At a price, but you've got to take risks, as we said, and he's taken his first one already. Lau Bailey there in the middle of the field. What would you expect the American tactics to be, Mike?
I think they're on such a positive high right now. I think they've got to run with it with the belief that a medal can be there. So they're just going to try and stay with the pace. And I suppose they've been briefed. Let's not take too much risk on the range. Try and play safe. And they have been shooting very well.
Volkov leading for Russia. The Italians starting well, Lukas Hofer, but it's not the skiing that's really been his issue. He was 34th in the individual Hofer. He missed 3 on the very first shoot. Only missed 1 of the 15 remaining targets after that, but that's pretty much been the story of his season. 1 loose shoot, and he's thrown away his opportunities.
You just can't afford. If you have a bad moment, then 1 target missed is you know, like Foucault, if he's going to have a bad moment, it's 1 target out of 5.
1.4 kilometers completed, another 1,100 meters to go before they come in for the first shoot. If things go as they usually do, Norway will find themselves dropping down the order. But actually, since they put Ole Einar Bjorndalen on the first leg, Mike, things have been much more stable.
Yes, he used to start all the time in his early days, and from 1993 right the way through for what, the first 12, 13 years, and then they felt it was safer to put him at the back.
Biggest crowds of the championships, without a doubt, as number 24 goes for a little burst. Andrei Rastoguyev's getting fed up with the pace and just showing his style. That's how to satisfy your sponsors and also make your team coaches just a little bit nervous.
Well, they're definitely going to be nervous. The pace is strong at the front, and Rastoguyev's has gone on an incredible turn of pace, splitting the field. Is it wise when there's 2 more laps, when there's a prone shooting just coming up?
Well, if there's one man who's capable of skiing away from a field, he's one of them. He's an exceptionally strong athlete. And this year, his shooting has improved. Actually, the last 3 years, the shooting's gone up a couple of percentage points each time. So maybe 2017 is too early. 2018, could he be Olympic medalist?
He's got the potential. Needs, like the Americans, bringing in Matthew Emmons, a specialist shooting coach. I think that's what he would need, just to tidy it up a little.
And I tell you what, he's going into lane 24 for his first shoot. So he's going to be one of the first to settle. By the time Bjorn Dahlen and Volkov get to their firing points, we could well see Rastoguyev's with 3 rounds away.
This is going to unsettle the pack, although the pack are now closing into Rastoguyev's, but they've had to work really hard, so they're coming in probably a little harder than they had wished at the start of the race.
Lucas Hofer leading the chasing group in. Rastoguyev's on the firing point already. We should know, but we don't know who that spectator was.
Scott Dixon got past 6 teams, just 10 seconds off the pace, and he's down lane 26, so opportunity to get the shots off quickly.
Little change in the sights from Eric Lesser. Now, Rastoguyev's keep an eye on his targets, of course, for Latvia. 5 out of 5 for Germany, 5 out of 5 for Norway. Russia with a mistake. France get 5, Austria get 5, and Austria's chances remain alive. One mistake from Hofer of Italy, so an extra 7-8 seconds taken. But it's Rastoguyev's who comes out in first place. He's not got a huge lead, but he went in first. He's come out first, and the Latvian certainly won't live down, or he won't regret his move, that little burst of speed. Switzerland with a poor start. Jeremy Finello taking far too long over those first 5 targets. And 9 of the first 10 teams all hitting 5 with 5. The first to miss, Lau Bailey of the USA. Well, there you see the top 20. France down in 11th. No spare rounds required. And not too much damage done at this stage of the race, Mike, but so many of the big teams have gone clear. We often see mistakes early on in the relay, but not on this occasion. Maybe everyone's starting to show a little bit more respect to the range here.
Possibly. I think that the shooting was just a little more careful, a little slowly. Bjorn Dahlen only taking 10 minutes earlier to zero his weapon, and well, he knows how it works.
Yeah, this is good shooting. That's a great group. That would have gone through a 1-penny piece. Pretty certain of that. Well, we didn't see that first time round. The French with Jean-Guillaume Beatrix taking a tumble.
I did wonder why he was, 8 seconds off the pace. In fact, 13 when he came out, because I knew he was at the front when he came in. Look how tight it is. Yesterday in the women's race, I think only 12 shot the perfect 0-0. Looks like more men have. Or 0 for the first 5.
So Germany just taking over the lead from Latvia. Rastoguyev's was there after the first shoot. Bjorn Dahlen right up there for Norway. 8 seconds separating the top 4 teams after that first shoot. Austria in that leading group of 4. Chapelin is there for Belarus. Estonia with Zachner. Again, a good start from him. 10.5 down. Looking for the big teams, Mike. Prima of Ukraine losing 15.2. Work to do for him. Kazakhstan all the way down in 17th. Just 0.1 of a second ahead of Great Britain with Scott Dixon on that first leg. Christian Gao of Canada down in 21st. That's a disappointing start for them.
That is the bronze medalist from last year in Oslo. They don't have Nathan Smith in the team this year. Sadly, I've heard he's coming back for Pyeongchang. Scott's still in there. The pace is now picking up and up and up.
Yeah, Volkov of Russia losing a little bit of time as well. Disappointing performance from him in terms of the Russians. One spare round required, and no one, Mike, who used a spare round within 11 seconds of the leaders coming out of the range. Anders Besserberg looking on. An extraordinarily long press conference from him this morning, Mike. I think the idea was to go on so long that no one could ask any questions at the end, because there were plenty of journalists there who had some very tricky questions to ask him.
Well, yes, it did go on quite a long time. I was a little surprised. We had to prepare and get ready for the race and talk to people, but I heard that it all went well in the end.
Well, here comes Rastoguyev's. Good climbing from him, 5.4. He's lost, what, a second of that lead he had after the first shoot. I wonder whether we'll see a burst from Rastoguyev's again. He went for it on the top of this climb, Mike. Quite a good tactic, really, because he really put the pressure on here, skied hard for the next 200, and then eased up as he came into the range.
Yes, he really hurt the rest of the pack. It's interesting they were lesser chasing, but not trying to make a huge effort to close it down. There's certainly a runaway leader. And I'm so impressed with Rastoguyev's. That is all about fighting spirit, wanting to put his country on the map. And hey, they're only ranked 24th at the moment after the 3 World Cups so far in the relay. He's destroying the field. What a fighting spirit. It's the stand shoot coming up next. Statistically, not his favourite, so I really hope he can get 5 out of 5 again.
Well, I'm afraid it's worse than that. 66% hit rate in the stand for Rastoguyev's throughout the season, and he's still keeping the pressure on. Bjorndalen in second place for Norway. Hoffer for Italy in 3 in that Azzurri blue suit, looking very, very dapper. Lau Bailey's made some moves, got himself up into 4, goes ahead of Austria and Germany. And those are the front 6 teams, but really nothing separating them at this stage. This second shoot could well split that chasing pack in half.
Bjorndalen now taking the initiative. He's gone ahead of Eric Lesser.
Are there any teams out there, Mike, that can afford a penalty loop and still win?
Hey, looking at ski speeds, the Russians are thought, because they really are focused and determined to get a medal. Sometimes that can bring the extra impulse on the skis, but I think it's unlikely. Today's conditions as well, I would think it's unlikely that teams will miss. The big teams will be on the penalty loop. I doubt it very much.
Yeah, Russia, no medals in Oslo last year. They've taken 1 bronze here in Hochfilzen. That, of course, came on the first day in the mixed relay. Forced down into bronze medal. Martin Fourcade overtaking Shapulin in the last few metres. Now, Mark Kirchner watching on. It's Rastoguyev's who should be the first to strike. Instead of being lane 24, he's in lane 1 this time round.
Yes, open range. You don't have to go into the lane, which corresponds with your number. He missed the first, Rastoguyev's.
And the third. So he's hitting alternate targets at the moment. 3 rounds, 2 targets to go. Shooting clear is going to be the secret to getting the lead here. And Lau Bailey, 4 out of 4, 5 out of 5. Great from the Americans. That cheer means that either Austria or Germany have gone clear. It's the Germans who are away, but America could be out there in front. Russia requiring 1 spare. Norway, 2 spares already. Bjorndalen, 1 target remaining, 2 rounds. He doesn't need the last, but he's lost some time to the race leaders. Ukraine, Germany, Bulgaria, USA, France, and the 1, 2, 3 teams on the penalty loop in the first standing shoot. Extraordinary. Scott Dixon still trying to clear them. 4 out of 4. Can he clear the last one? No, that goes wide. But still a great chance of clearing the 5 eventually. Now Ukraine, Mike, 1 miss. Germany still haven't missed a target. France likewise, now just 3.2 behind. Lots of changes. Norway, from being second into the range, find themselves down in 10th. Well, 1 or 2 changes there. Rastoguyev's looked good in the prone. Were his tactics right for the stand? Should he have given himself a little more recovery time? He knows that his shooting record isn't good in the stand position, and suddenly he's nowhere to be seen, having led the way round the first and the second loop.
Patrick, he came in 6 seconds ahead of the rest of the world, Rastegurievs, and sadly he's gone out of the range 39 seconds behind the lead team, now in 17th position. It's that tight today.
Well, Ukraine are really putting in a punishing pace here. Artem Prima heading back towards the first exchange. The Germans delighted that Eric Lesser has got away unscathed. He's had a few relay nightmares in the past. The French starting to come strong, Mike. Jean-Guillaume Bethrix absolutely flying up that back straight. Beautifully efficient skiing.
And you know what? He hasn't missed a target. That fall we saw when he came in for the prone shoot, that didn't put him off. He did land back on his rifle. Great composure to get the 5 in the prone and 5 in the stand.
So the bib number corresponding to their ranking. So we've got 1, 4, 5, 9, and the Americans way down the ranking in 18th position. That's because they missed the first relay of the season.
Well, that's right. They had some unfortunate incidents in Östersund, or prior to Östersund. Big Life Nordgren, he had a squashed big toe. He raced the first race, but he wasn't able to take part in the relay. Some equipment landed on his foot the week before going over to Europe.
Little slip from Bethrix for France, recovers well, good reactions, but I think the condition of that corner is just going to get tougher and tougher. Here's Andy Stitzel ready to give his support to Eric Lesser. Still some way to go, 7.5, remember, 1,400 metres remaining from this stage, and the next 300 metres predominantly uphill. An opportunity maybe for Bjorndalen to get a little bit closer to those race leaders. He was 17 seconds behind, now 19.5, so Bjorndalen losing ground, but Norway certainly not out of it at this stage. Svensson and then the two Bird brothers taking legs 2, 3 and 4 for them.
Just thinking about the Ukrainian team up front there, Artem Prima, he hasn't had one race at the championship, so fresh set of legs, and that's why he's burning up the pace.
There's Svensson, the sprint world champion behind him. Benedikt Doll, he needs to show his best form. If he's got a weakness, it's the standing shoot. He didn't show that in the sprint race, hitting 10 out of 10. This is a great start for Beatrix, Mike. Martin Fourcade said if France are going to win it, every single one of their team members has got to be on top form.
Well, you can't criticise at all. Even though he fell back, lost some 6 seconds as he came in for his first shoot, he's bringing it back on the track, and he's only taking one team with him, and that's the Germans. Lowell Bailey, all the press interest, the world has had such interest in the performance when he won the gold medal in the individual race, looking a little tired again today, but he's a fighter.
But that final lap of the individual was a sensational run. It was so tight between himself and Moravec, and he had to dig exceptionally deep, not just physically but mentally as well. But interesting, Mike, that his performance in the pursuit actually inspired him to great things in the individual.
Well, that's right. He said he got up into second position in the pursuit, and then on the last lap, one athlete passed him, another athlete, and he said the medal was just disappearing. And over the next 3 days before his second race, he replayed that 1,000 times, he said, in his mind, and he would never let that happen again. And that's why he outskied his potential in the last 4Ks by somewhat 2%, the willpower to keep that medal.
Yeah, it was great willpower, had a little bit of luck having the company of Volkov, and a little bit of fortune in that the snow conditions on the last 500-600 metres of the track were better than they'd been when Moravec went through. But enough of that for now. Let's focus on the men's relay. The first exchange coming up. Those who were selected to do the first leg have pretty much completed. France and Germany will be the first two teams away, and that's why we see Doll and, of course, Fillon Maillet of France, who's ready to go for leg 2. Good finish from Eric Lesser, showed good strength.
Oh, this is a punishing pace. Where did they find this pace from? It was led there by Beatrix, and then Lesser taking the initiative.
Yeah, this could well put them some 20-25 seconds ahead of Norway, and Lesser handing over to Benedikt Doll. Doll, the lowest ranked in terms of World Cup positions in the German squad, but Lesser 7, Doll 11, Pfeiffer 5, Schemp 3. You know, if you look at that, it's hard to believe that they're not going to make it gold medal number 6, but the French will not ease up. And if France are still in contention at the third exchange, you'd expect to see something pretty spectacular from Martin Fourcade. Team 9 coming out, having had a very good first run. Krasimir Anev handing over to Anton Sinapov. Can they stay with it? We'll have to wait and see. Norway have work to do. as do Team 12. That's Kazakhstan, Savitsky, handing over to Podkoritov. And away goes Emil Hegler-Svensson. Been a difficult championships for him, Mike.
It has. I think for the Norwegian women's team, it's been a very difficult championships. Svensson, he was taken to hospital after the pursuit competition. Sorry, the sprint competition. And then we did see him back in the individual. Eric Lesser, what a great job for Germany.
Can't ask more than that. A 5-second advantage over second, but 12 seconds clear of third, and crucially 30 seconds clear of their biggest rivals, Norway. Taking the first leg, Mike. Obviously a great honour to be selected to take the first leg, but once you've done your run, there's absolutely nothing you can do.
And when it goes as well as it does for Lesser, you must feel great about it. So all he'll be doing now is supporting his teammates as they go round. Benedict Dahl, he's got the ski speed, Patrick. His shooting has been as good as it ever has been over the last week.
Do you think the conditions suit Benedict Dahl? It's much softer than when he won the sprint event.
He's such a strong athlete. He will dig in a little deeper, as ski edges probably will, with the amount of power he puts through his edges.
Here come Russia with Maxim Svetkov in the second of the chasing groups. Italy there as well. Austria still not out of it. Good skiing from Julian Eberhardt, who should be able to make up a little bit of time on the race leaders. He's a very quick skier, Eberhardt, but the standing shoot has been his undoing throughout the season. Through 1.1 kilometers, and Germany still ahead of France. They had 5.4, that's been cut to 3.7. Fillon-Maillet working well. Semenov of Ukraine was 13 down, now just 11 seconds, so he's pulled 2 seconds off Benedict Dahl. That's not a sign that Dahl is going slowly. I think it's a sign that Semenov is perhaps working a little bit too hard in the early stages. Here comes Svensson. Now, we saw one or two of the Norwegian athletes in the women's relay yesterday, Mike, looking like they were on their last legs, but on the first loop.
Yeah, that was very strange, and you'd expect at the World Championships a team to be on their best form. For me, Svensson looking quite heavy there today. He's just lost 1 second since the handover. Just looking at shooting the first leg athletes, Patrick, only 2 shot 10 out of 10 shots. 7 missed just 1 shot. I think we'd expect normally about 7 to go 0-0.
And the 2 teams that went clear are 1 and 2. No surprises. Germany, France looking very good at the moment, but as I say that, the Russians start to up the pace. Russia were 20 seconds behind, and now coming through just 13.3, so that's some good work going in from Maxim Svetkov. And Svetkov's very good in the prone position, Mike. I think he's on about 92.5, 93% hit rate this season.
Yes, I suppose if he has a weakness, it's not on the range normally, it's on his ski speed. He'll probably lose, what, some 18 seconds to the fastest.
Svensson started the lap 30.7 behind, and now finds himself 30.4, so no gains on the leaders. Norway going to have to stay clean over the next couple of legs if they're going to get back into contention and start to put pressure on France and Germany. America still in 3rd place. Great race from them so far. Ukraine in 4.
I think we haven't picked up on the Czech Republic. That was a really bad start. 1 penalty loop for the first leg athlete for Krupchnik, and that's put them at a massive disadvantage.
Yeah, the Czech Republic 1 minute 30 behind. Andrej Moravec is now on course, and they will have come in today thinking bronze is certainly possible, a crack at the silver, and if everything goes perfectly, then the gold. I think we can now say the gold is not going to happen. A medal is still a possibility, but it's
unlikely, isn't it, when you've got such a gap down in 21st position, the Czech Republic. In fact, just 10 seconds ahead of the British team. Scott only missed 1 target. Let's hope the British team can keep that. There's momentum, Patrick, in the future of British biathlon. Big changes. The future, I think, can be a lot brighter than it has been in the past.
Germany and France have both won relays this season. Mike, how important is that?
Confidence is huge in biathlon, and we saw that in the women's race yesterday. The German girls believed it was possible again. It was theirs to lose. So you just feel more comfortable through the rifle.
So Germany, France, USA, Phil Maillet just rushing his position a little. Needs to calm himself down, just take his time. 3 spare rounds, remember. There's the first mistake from the Germans. That's the first target they've missed all day. A chance now for Phil Maillet to put France in front, but no, maybe that pressure. Either the pressure or the fact that they have skied exceptionally hard on that first lap. America and Ukraine have an opportunity, and it's the USA who could be going into the lead here, with Ukraine and Russia who've gone clear. France have cleared, Germany have cleared. It's going to be even tighter than it was on the last lap. Mistakes from Austria, those could prove crucial come the end of the day. Well, at least the targets are down. Svensson's missed his first shot, now through 2, 3 and 4 safely down. He's got to use 1 spare, so another 5 or 6 seconds. And now no teams have cleared 15 out of 15.
Svensson back in business. He only lost 2 seconds to the fastest skier first time round, well, to Benedict Dahl.
30.7 behind Norway after the first leg. We'll get to see Svensson's time in a moment. The fact that Norway are behind Sweden, that will hurt them a little bit. 23 seconds the margin for Sweden. Germany, USA, Ukraine might now just 2.6 behind. And really good performance by the USA. Leif Norgren, exceptional. Burke and Doherty still to go. These are Norgren's shots. Last one, high left, predominantly low right, though. Benedict Dahl having to use a spare round.
Good to see. Well, you can see the trigger finger. It's always free, especially in these warm temperatures. Just helping to guide that 5.6 millimeter bullet into the chamber.
We now have 5 teams with just 1 spare round required, and they are 1, 2, 3, 4 and 5, just to emphasize the importance of the shooting in the relay when so many of the men skiing at the same sort of speed. And again, Mike, it's interesting, once you get in a group, much easier to hold the pace of the leader.
I think it is. You're inspired, or you can anchor yourself, focus in on the athlete above, and just try and relax in their slipstream.
Now, if you were Nordgren behind Dahl of Germany, would you be trying to ski in time? Does that make a difference, or do you just go for your own tempo?
I think you've got to stick to your own stride. It puts you out, puts your rhythm out. You've got to try and keep your own game. And often when you're skiing behind someone, you can clip their skis. So Leif is taking a little pause, 4 meters behind.
No disaster so far for Austria. They'll be holding their breath on the next shoot. That, of course, is in the standing position. And Julian Eberhardt, he's had 1 or 2 brilliant shoots this season, but the majority in the stand position have been disastrous. So fingers crossed for him and the host nation that does not happen today. Germany sluggish around that corner. Benedict Dahl losing all his speed, and Nordgren closing up. Ukraine still in 3rd. We've got Italy up there as well. Bulgaria still in with a shout, and at the very back of that group, the Austrians, with Julian Eberhardt, who at the exchange, Mike, was 21 seconds down. Now just 9.9.
What a skier. Is that good news? Is that bad news? Yes, good news, he's closing the time down. And the bad news is that it's the stand shoot coming up next. The track is, without a doubt, pressing in. Your skis are digging deep in this, what now, 10 degrees sunshine.
Norway were 36 behind last time we saw them, now at 33.9. So Svensson's working hard. He's all on his own, not getting any assistance out there whatsoever. And the Norwegians will be very concerned. 2 silvers, 1 bronze from these championships so far. Compare that to the 4 golds, 2 silvers, 3 bronze that they took in Oslo just a year ago. I know the Norwegian press have been giving the team a pretty hard time, but they're concerned about the quality of the shooting and concerned that bringing in a new shooting coach wasn't the best thing to do.
Well, it's certainly, the newspapers are full of it, saying why, especially the women's team, why are they shooting so bad now? What is wrong? The rhythm doesn't look good, the routines don't look as good as they used to be. And they were the reigning champions, finishing, what, 11th yesterday? I suppose the questions have to be asked. Was it nerves trying to hold on to that gold medal which they've had since last March in Oslo?
Well, at least the crowds, the local crowds that have turned out, have got something to cheer, because Austria still attached to the back of that group like a limpet. Eberhardt's not going to let them go, but he knows that he's got to calm himself, bring that pulse rate down to a manageable level before the second shoot on this second leg. It is, of course, in the standing position. Doll looking comfortable. That world title seems to be sitting very nicely on his shoulders at the moment, and I wouldn't be surprised if we saw him get another win this season.
I think so. He's bound to walk away from here with confidence, the ability to win a World Championship sprint. That's got to give confidence. What's surprising me, Patrick, the pace has kind of calmed down. So we're allowing now, what, some 10 teams to close up quite tight. In fact, just 9 teams, 8 teams, in fact. But there's Austria straight back in it. You need a missile on the tracks, but you need a good marksman too.
Yeah, but Eberhardt doesn't look that comfortable, and I don't think either of us have been convinced by the Austrian form throughout the championships so far. Still the same 3 teams leading. Germany, France, Ukraine are up there, but they have company this time round. Second shoot in the second leg, so after this shoot they head for the second exchange and the halfway point of the men's 4x7.5. Russia still in with a shout. Good skiing so far from Svetkov. Nicely positioned in that group. He's been trying to ease it up. Eberhardt is slowing, and that is intentional. He knows his best chance is to come in well below his training rate.
He knows this range better than anybody else here. He roller skis on this range almost every day in the summer, and he'll be trying to take all the positives. Further back down the track, Moravec is closing the gap again, setting the fastest ski time, and he's moved up to 17th for the Czech Republic.
Germany, USA, Ukraine, France and Bulgaria have only missed 1 target apiece so far. Who's first to strike? It's Ukraine, and it goes down. Fiormaillet for France, looking good. A miss for Germany, so that's a spare round. Fiormaillet, that is astonishing shooting from him. He's down 5, and he's away. Ukraine will be second away. Italy is still there. Russia cleared. Germany getting stuck on this first spare. A very, very expensive move. Can Eberhardt clear his 5th target? He does. Austria are going ahead of Germany. 2 mistakes.
Well, look at the rifle. The rifle is trembling. Doll, it's a little steadier this time. He's got 1 chance left. Doll, calm. He needs to calm this down.
Or a penalty loop is coming his way.
Oh, trembling. He's really trembling.
It's
good.
Down.
Great job.
It's down. They stay alive, but they've gone and lost some 25 seconds plus with those mistakes from Benedikt Doll. The hero of the sprint is not going to be the hero of the relay unless Pfeiffer and Schemp can do something spectacular in the closing stages. That's a poor time in the race to make mistakes like that, Mike.
It is expensive. They're 32 seconds behind. He's going to push so hard on this final 2.5.
France, Italy, Ukraine. Well, that was astonishing shooting from Fiormaillet, Mike. The fall of the shot was good. The speed of the shooting was sensational. Just the ticket. But would the coach be encouraging Destieux and Fourcade to do the same sort of thing?
Well, I think they'll all be on the edges of their seats. That was magnificent to take that amount of risk and to pull it off. He's really won themselves a good opportunity here.
So France leading Italy. Good performance by Italy, but I think we have to say that Italy have put Hofer and Windisch, their 2 strongest biathletes, 1 and 2. So the chances of them staying there are slim, but if they hadn't gone first, they wouldn't be anywhere near the lead. So probably a good decision by the Italian coaches. They're in with a shout at the moment. They've got Ukraine and the USA behind them. And they'll be delighted to know that Germany have dropped all the way back to 7th, 32.7 seconds behind. Julian Eberhardt for Austria being encouraged. Can he find that ski speed that we know he has? He still looks tired, Mike. I'm just wondering whether that hard regime, specific regime for these championships, just has been a little bit too tough.
Well, remember, Eberhard is at the best, the fastest 2 times. Foucault occasionally faster than him in most of the World Cups this season. You're right, and he's looking a little flat now. It's difficult to get the planning spot on where you're at your best form here at home at the World Championships. I must say, Shvetkov has done very well. The Russian team are surviving. They're at the tail end of this lead group. That's America's in the distance with Lev Nordgren, but it's still good, only 13 seconds behind.
France and Ukraine still the 2 best teams in terms of shooting, but it only takes 1 bad shoot to put you out of the relay. Germany have just about survived. Benedikt Doll trying to make up for those 3 spare rounds he required. Having come in with the leaders, he finds himself 32.6 behind, and now has Norway, the big rival, just behind him. Svensson, 43, started the lap 30 behind, Mike, so he's lost 13, and Norway's shooting score so far, 0-3. It's not the shooting this time, it's the skiing, which is unusual.
It's unusual, but I suppose the positives, if you've wanted your 2 final athletes in your quartet to have Tarja Bo and Johannes Tingesbo going next, they still have a chance of a medal. 43 sounds a long way now, almost half distance behind.
Norway have medalled in the last 10 World Championships. If they medal today, they equal East Germany, who notched up 11 successive wins. And so there's a little bit of history at stake for the Norwegians. I'm not sure that will be on their minds right now.
It's survival right now, and Svensson, they'll all be trying to encourage Svensson to bring some magic to his final lap.
Eberhard's closed 2 seconds on this final lap of the 2nd leg so far. Benedikt Doll, he came out 32.7, he's now at 31.8, so no significant move from him. And the Americans with Nordgren still up there, Mike. So far a good relay. They'd be happy, they'd be delighted with a top 5, happy with a top 10.
Well, I think they absolutely will. The last 15 major champs, including the Olympics, the Americans have placed 6th once. That's their best result.
Through go Austria. Yeah, you can tell from the way that Eberhard's skiing, he's not attacking the corners, he's surviving the corners. So the pressure leg suddenly becomes the 3rd leg for the French, and Simon Dessieux, he knows that if he can finish his lap level with the rest of the teams, he will have given France their best possible chance. Martin Fourcade, the world #1, the greatest for the last 6 years, is taking the anchor leg for France.
I must say, looking at, well, that camera shot, the expression on Dessau's face, that's a man who's got a lot of nerve, it's tension going on. Hopefully he'll get rid of that as soon as he starts his ski part of his race.
France won in Pachuca, of course, but they were 9th a year ago in Oslo, and it was only 1 shoot that cost them a top performance there. So here come the 2 leading teams. Italy have excelled themselves over the first 2 legs. Hoffer and Vendish both producing top performances, but it should be France who hand over in first place. Quentin Fillon-Maillet, that standing shoot is, well, if you're learning the trade of biathlon, you want to have a look at Fillon-Maillet's standing shoot. Quite sensational. That's what you want to aspire to. So away they go. 37 minutes on the clock. We're looking for a time of around 1 hour 15 for the winning time here in Pachuca. 1:13.57, the last of the relays in Antolz. In Oslo last year, it was 1:13.16. Austria are away and now relying on the skill of Simon Eder. He's another master shot, Mike, but Eder hasn't shown his best here so far.
He hasn't, but Eder will take chances with the 3 spare shots. Germany, it looks so good. They're now 7th position.
Out in 7th, Arndt Pfeiffer. He was the man of the day in terms of the mixed relay. Superb performance. He needs to do exactly the same again. And now the Norwegians can rely on just one family. Tarja Bo and Johannes Tingesbo, both on their best form. They could make up that 37, but Tarja is not on his best form. He's not had a good season.
2 great names. No, he got the flu virus at Christmas, having had a setback after Östersund. It's been a bad season for Tarja Bo.
Dominic Vindish, who has tended to come good at the end of the seasons, was in sensational form when he got his first World Cup win out in Canada last year, and certainly proving a match for Fillon Maillet. And in fact, Italy and France helping each other over that last 2.5K. Is it going to be France's day?
Well, I think a nosebleed there with the efforts, or was it a fall? Didn't see it happen. Sometimes the ski poles jump up from the athlete in front of you. Dessau, well, a lot of responsibility on his shoulders. What about Giuseppe Montello? It's great to see new names at the front of the race. He's had a 44th, a 34th, and an 87th in his 3 outings at these championships so far, and it's a huge moment for Montello, the Italian there in 2nd place.
What does he do? Does he just tuck in?
I saw him have a look over his left shoulder. He's just thinking, his brain is computing, who's behind me? I think he has to just try and relax and stick to his own game. His skis are gliding beautifully well. And if he could just stick in behind Dessau to the first shoot, he's 1/3 of the way through his race. But the pack, there's Babikov leading the chase pack. Austria still in there, Ukraine. Strong, always strong when it comes to shooting.
Yeah, nice to see Simonetta skiing well. He's in 4th place for Austria at the moment, just ahead of the Ukrainians. But that's a strong little trio of Russia, Austria and Ukraine making ground up on the 2 race leaders at the moment. Burke for USA, still up in the top 6. A sensational performance from Burke, which is a possibility, could put them into the top 3. And Arndt Pfeiffer 29.4 behind. In terms of shooting, Mike, what's that, 4 spare rounds?
I'd say, yeah, 8-9 seconds per extra round used. What about Tarje Boe? When you're race rusty coming into a major championships, you could argue that the first 2 races will have raised his performance. Let's hope it has for Norway.
Yeah, if Tarje can reduce the deficit to 15 seconds, then Norway still have a chance, because Johannes Tingis has shown that he is capable of great things. It's not always worked out for him at these championships, but his pursuit race was sensational, particularly the last couple of loops. So France with pole position at the moment. Of course, Guillaume Bertix took the first leg for them. I think we've got a chance of hearing what he has to say. He says he thinks the most important thing about his performance was the gap that he put between himself and Norway. And now with Germany almost 30 seconds behind, France really sensing they've got an opportunity to take a win. And actually, they haven't won a World Championship relay since 2001. And that's the only victory they've got. So very surprising. And the French women have underperformed in the relays as well.
That's quite amazing. And I suppose that's one area where Fourcade hasn't quite won as many medals, as you just pointed out, as any of his other races at World Championships. It's not over yet, though. Let's just hope that it can...
It's far from over, especially when you consider that Russia have Anton Shapulin on the last length. It could be yet another Shapulin-Fourcade battle, and that's really what got this championships off to a cracking start in the mixed relay. Controversial one, but exciting.
It certainly was. It spiced the first few days up, and that will be quite amazing if they're both on the last leg, starting at much the same time.
Yeah, Shapulin won't have enjoyed being out skied. I think he'll have had a look at the tactics. And certainly, Mike, spending a bit of time working out your best line into the finish at this stadium is crucial.
Well, it certainly paid off for Lowell Bailey. He practiced that descent, knowing full well that most athletes were taking it wide. He took it tight and got huge amount of speed down under the tunnels in towards the finish to win by, what, 3 seconds. Moravec, who he just surpassed that day, is closing down. He's moved the team up from 21st, I think it was, to 16th.
Shoot number 5, and we still have 5 teams neck and neck. France were first into the exchange. Quick shooting from Austria. Simonetta, though, has thrown one wide. 4 out of 5 for the Austrian. Russia taking their time and going clean. So crucial at this stage of the relay. And Russia lead for the first time. Italy, little delay, but they get that 5th target down.
Everybody's slipping off those shooting mats again today.
And France, Mike, 2 misses, 3 misses. Suddenly their fortunes have turned, and one man who will not be happy will be Martin Fourcade, who is watching on from the stadium, eager to see this last target drop. They're not out of it, but suddenly they're in the same position that Germany were in just 7-8 minutes ago. So, well, go down, but at the cost of some 23, 24 seconds.
Who would have expected Arne Pfeiffer to have to use spare rounds? I thought he might nail these 5 out of 5.
Tarjei Bout starts the Norwegian comeback. He should be through in 6th or 7th. America still hanging on to 6 at 38 seconds. And the Norwegians, well, waiting for their time to come up. Tarjei cleared, 45 seconds behind in 7th position. So Russia, Austria and Italy now the top 3. Let's have a look at Babikov's shots. Any comments, Mike?
His style, he's like a Summer Olympic shooter. The rifle always leans away from him, but he is such a good shot. And he didn't rush it there like some of the teams are shooting so fast to try and get a gain. I think it's a safe play to just take a slightly slower rhythm. Ader tried the fast shoot, but it didn't pay off, missing low left. And then you lose these 6, 7, 8 seconds.
But you know what his coaches will have said after his performance in the individual, where he shot like a beginner, to be honest. It was not his normal routine. Celebrations, hopefully they're not premature. I think everyone, of course there are thousands of Austrians here, but there are more Germans than there are Austrians, and there are just as many French as there are Austrians, but every single person in the crowd would be delighted to see Austria get a medal.
Very much, and I think generally they haven't done what they hoped they could do, and of course Ader took the silver medal last year in the individual. Landetinger took the bronze and silver, but they haven't any medals to show yet.
Austria have won World Cups here before, and at the final exchange they were over a minute behind Germany, so they'll believe that anything can happen. And Austria, of course, medaling in 2005 for the last time the World Championships were held here in Hochfilzen. Every team we've focused on so far, Mike, has gone and blown the next shoot.
Isn't it?
Norway, Germany, France.
It's incredible. Look at Simon Ader's skis. They are on fire. He's got a good glide, and that makes life easier, not just on the downs, but on the flats and the ups.
And sensibly tucking in behind the Russian there, or do you think he should have taken his opportunity and gone ahead of Babikov?
No, I think it's sensible. He had that opportunity, but I think he just needs to pace himself. We know he knows he's not in his best form. Just play safe.
Italy, they'll be starting to get excited. We are only on the 3rd leg. We've still got the standing shoot to come on this leg, but they've got a lead of some 12 seconds over Ukraine, which is quite handy. The French struggling now. What is the margin? 28, 29, 30 seconds. And Dessieux still close enough to give Martin Fourcade a chance. They're not out of it quite yet, but nor are Germany, nor are America, and nor are Norway, who've closed that gap down to just 41 seconds now. Well, here is America's Lau Bailey, new world champion in the individual. Well, I do apologise. It would have been fantastic to hear what Lau had to say, but I can't hear him. My lip reading's not up to much, so that's another mystery. We're having a few technical issues here in Hochfilzen today, which is a shame, but nice to see Lau anyway, and hopefully we'll hear from him a little bit later on. He's done a good job here today, Mike, but would you have put him on the final leg?
Do you know what, looking at that, you need a safe set of, you need a well-experienced athlete to take the first leg. You don't want a bad start, so I understand why he's gone first. To keep them at the sharp end, and he did start so well.
And there's someone who you've been promoting for the last 5 years, Sean Doherty. You think he's the real deal, a future champion. Well, he's got his chance to prove himself today. He takes the anchor leg for USA.
Let's see his colours today, but I really believe in Doherty, and I really believe that futuristically he'll be winning medals at these events, World Championships.
These two are going to be delighted when they see the margin they've opened up. They'll also be happy when they see that it's Italy chasing them and not one of the big four. So things looking very, very good for the two leaders, Austria and Russia. Shapulin versus Landertinger. I'm afraid you have to favour the Russian in that little duo for the final leg. But Landertinger's done nothing so far. Is this going to be the race where he makes his name? Any mistakes from the leading two, and one of the big four is going to just gobble them up in the last 2.5K, because we got Germany, Norway, France now trailing by some 35 to 40 seconds.
You just feel, don't you, that Tarja Bo is on survival there. Normally he would have tucked right in behind Pfeiffer, but he let a few meters open up. What pressure now for Simon Eder.
Well, if you were hoping to hear from Lal, good news is we've sorted the issue, but we will replay that interview as soon as this shoot is completed. We're back into the standing position. Some of the slower teams being lapped already. We've seen nothing of the British performance so far.
Well, Vinny's just going out. He's missed 3 in the pro, and they will pull him out at this stage. Marcel dropped the Brit team down to 4:53, the well 1:40 after the first leg.
So here we go. Austria's chance to reach the final leg and still be in contention for their first medal of these championships. Russia have only got 1 bronze so far. Simon Eder, oh, he thought that was down. He thought it was down, and actually the miss distracting Anton Babikov. He had to delay.
Oh,
2 misses from Eder. This is vital. It has to go down. Well, that's exactly what he did on the first one. I think he thought that 5th shot was a hit, Mike, but still Austria are going to be in 2. Eder's now got to ski himself back up alongside the Russians. Italy, can they clear 5 and keep themselves in with a hope? No, the last one's missed. Norway have missed with Tarja Bo. Germany coming back into it, 4 out of 4. Far, the 5th one goes wide. And France, great recovery from Simon Dessieux, 5 out of 5. And France back up into the top 4.
Tarja Bo, he just cannot breathe. He's come in at such a high level. He's got 3 chances left.
When you make mistakes early on, your final runners have to take risks. And Norway, from 40 seconds behind, are going to be closer to 1:20. 1:05 if they're lucky. Oh, penalty loop. Penalty loop. Norwegians are out of this. It doesn't matter what Johannes Tingesbo does. America, 3 spares required. Still with a slim chance now. Sean Doherty has got to produce the race of his life.
Oh, these races, it's every day. It's amazing. I'm so impressed with Italy still up there in 4th place. Austria just 8 seconds behind now.
Russia, Austria, France, Italy. Anton Babikov, he showed everyone else how to do it. How vital is that shoot going to prove to be, with 35 seconds, 35, 36 seconds off the podium positions when they left the range. We'll see how they are when they go through the first split point. Russia now in control, Mike, and with Anton Shapulin on the final leg, he'll be having to hold off Martin Fourcade, it looks like, unless Landertinger can find his World Championship winning form.
What a race. It's still got a way to go, and Babikov, so strong. He's had good form all season since Östersund, and the Russians, I think, want this gold more than anybody, and often that brings something special to the table. What about Johannes Tingesbo? On his last leg, he's going to have to pull back 1:23 on Shapulin.
Yeah, that's unlikely to happen, and the Norwegians, if they want to keep the run of medals going, have got to pull back some 50 seconds on the French. And Martin Fourcade on the last leg, you wouldn't expect that to happen, but someone else may have a meltdown. The chances are that one of the 3 leading teams is going to have problems on the final leg. The Italians still hanging on in there. Thomas Bormolini taking the final leg for him. He's ranked 97 in the World Cup standing, so the Italians have completely excelled expectations.
They have Montello. What a little fighter. He is the shortest man in the field, and he's got a massive fight in those legs.
But the real story is this is Austria's moment. Whether it were gold, silver or bronze, it really doesn't matter. It's a medal that they desperately need, and they need it as a result and a reward for all the investment they've put into biathlon and these championships for 2017, because I don't think I've met anyone who doesn't think this is the best championships they've ever been to.
Oh, it's the fans, all the press, 565 press people here, they're all saying this is as good as it gets. Look at the German team, 24. It's touching distance once again. Yeah, they always bounce back, don't they?
Pfeiffer was 37 behind coming out of the range, so that's a fantastic gain of 30 seconds and could be crucial because now he finds himself just 3 seconds behind the French. So we're going to have Simon Schempp fancying his chances, and probably the best sprinter of the big names, Schempp, Schapulin, Fourcade, is probably Simon Schempp.
I think it is. Simon Schempp, he's got this massive turn of pace when it really matters most. We saw that in Oberhof when he went from third to first in the final few hundred meters.
Well, I don't know where your money is at the moment. Just to remind you of the final leg runners who are going to be playing out this drama here in Hochfilzen. Russia have Anton Schapulin, the #2 in the world. Austria, Dominik Landertinger, ranked number 25, but on his day, he's a fabulous athlete. We just haven't seen signs of it so far this year. Simoneda's done his work, Mike. Had that last shot in the stand position gone down, I think it could have been a very different story. He could have had a lead of some 10 or 15 seconds. Not interested in going ahead of Russia. That's probably a good move because he knows that Landertinger is better off tucking in behind Schapulin rather than leading him.
But I think what it does show is, Patrick, well, let's hope all the Austrian skis are going so well because Simoneda's skis there were fabulous. And that just makes your journey all the more easy.
My only concern with Austria is that by going that little bit slower, he's allowing France and Germany to close the gap to probably around 17, 18 seconds.
But I'm amazed as well because he could have handed Landertinger an advantage, and then of course Schapulin was always going to catch up with Landy. I can't understand this strategy.
Yeah,
it's too early to play these games.
It's unusual because France are only 100 meters behind now. So Anton Schapulin gets an early start for Russia. Landertinger goes for Austria. Their last chance today, certainly. They've got 2 more chances in the mass starts tomorrow to get a medal, but it doesn't look likely. Lisa Theresa Hauser's not skiing well. And Martin Fourcade, he took it easy at the start of the mixed relay. No such story today. He goes out like a ballistic missile, and it's going to be tough for Germany and Simon Schempp to hang on there. 12 and 13 seconds behind, having been over 30 seconds behind 2.5 kilometers ago. So now the margin looks very, very slim indeed.
Dessau has had the ski race of his life. Those little errors on the shooting range, he put it all to rights with his ski speed.
Italy in 6. Norway have shot themselves out of this one. They're over 1:20 behind, so no repeat of the championships last year. Norway, Germany, Canada, the medalists in Oslo 12 months ago. Russia, Austria, France in the medal positions at the moment. Now, where is your money? Martin Fourcade, Mike, we've seen him take 15 seconds out of everyone in the world on the last 2.5 kilometer loop of a relay before.
Do you know we have? He will be believing that this is his chance for another gold. He's only got, I'd say, only got one from these championships so far, but he's medalled in everything. I saw Schempp on the handover coming up later. Schempp really wanted to get in behind Fourcade and quickly. I'm amazed at the front here, Patrick. They've allowed France straight back into it. They've lost that lead pace, has lost some 15 seconds. Dessau pulled back because the pace wasn't so tough at the front.
The 15 seconds doesn't sound like much, Mike, but there's no doubt that France and Germany will try and close that at the risk of missing in the first prone. Are you bold enough to give us a 1, 2, 3?
I've just been trying to figure out, you know, I get you when you say Norway's out of it, but I'm still believing in Johannes Tingesbo. If there's one man in the world who can create a little miracle here today, he's got to take them from 8th to 3rd, and that gap is 1:10, and not impossible, but extremely difficult. But first 3, Schapulin, he was first man at zeroing. He was last man to leave zeroing, 45 minutes to centre himself. He's on.
As they go through the halfway stage of this final leg.
Well, it's Schempp that's doing all the running behind. Schempp is giving absolutely everything. He's just throwing all risk away here by trying to close this gap. And it's going, again, quite slowly at the front.
Landertinger decides to take up the pace. Does Shapulin really want to be alongside Martin Fourcade? Slightly surprised to see he's not pushing a bit harder. 3 of the best 4 in the world on this in the top 4 of this men's relay. Austria leading the way. Even if they don't win a medal, Mike, they've given the crowd something to cheer about.
They definitely have. Shapulin was clearly suffering there leading, to have allowed Landy to take the pace up and allowing Germany and France to close the gap even more. What a race.
And that makes Simoneda's antics at the end of his leg even more bizarre. Just cruise control going through the last 500 meters. He could have handed over with a lead of over 25.
Do you know, the coaches must have been jumping up and down. If you've got an opportunity, yes, there's tactics and strategies, but when you've got the French team closing you down every meter of the way, you don't want to start slowing down. So I think there'll be some words spoken later if this doesn't go right.
Ukraine and Italy still in with a shout. Should 2 of the leading 4 teams make mistakes. Martin Fourcade, he's going to come along. You know what he wants to do? He wants to come into the range in first place. And it's all about mind games, which we've seen from him many, many times. And if he can't get first place in the range, he wants to settle alongside Shapulin and will probably whisper sweet nothings to him just before that first shot. I'm not sure sledging has reached biathlon yet, but now is the perfect chance.
Well, I didn't know that word until just a few weeks ago. Norway not pulling anything back. Johannes Tingesbo is trying, but he's lost 1 second.
Yeah, I think he'll be saving himself for the mass start tomorrow. 1:22, too much to ask for. USA down in 7th, Italy 6th, Ukraine 5, and then you know all about the leading 4 teams. Russia and Austria side by side, France and Germany side by side, and a margin that was 30 seconds just 7 minutes ago, cut down to just about 3.
Each of these teams in different ways, the pressure is huge.
The importance of hitting the prone is absolutely huge, because you do not want to be chasing the game on the penultimate loop. Save your energy for the final 2.5. 2 for Shapulin, 2 for Landertinger. No one missed so far. Martin Fourcade just waiting. There's the first miss from the Austrians, so Russia will have a lead of their own. It's a hand-fed round from Landertinger. Martin Fourcade could be going up into 2. He is. Austria will be behind them. Germany, 1 miss. Is that Austria's chance? Our Austrian chauffeur this morning saying, we asked him who he wanted to win. He said anyone but Germany. That at the moment is still a distinct possibility. And it wasn't anything to do with Austrian-German rivalry. It was all to do with the fact that they'd won so much already.
Well, yes, I think so. That's what it came across me. That's a tough job now for Shemp. He's going to have to pull back another 10 seconds, and that's really difficult to do on these tracks. What about America? Well, there's our Sean Doherty coming in now.
Chance for America to move up a place ahead of the Ukraine, who are in danger of going on the penalty loop. 1 more miss, 2 rounds, 2 targets for them to hit, and the Italians having a little bother as well. We could see Johannes Tingesbo moving up the order. Now, if Norway can get into 4, Mike.
Yeah, then anything's possible. Doherty missing the first shot. Ukraine, that's a huge surprise with Pedrushny struggling with the prone.
Johannes Tinges, I think, obeying orders this time. A good long look, 3-4 seconds, looking down the range just to see what the wind is doing. These are Shapulin's targets. That's how to do it. That is how to do it. And he keeps the French at bay for a while.
Well, the bay, it's only 9.9 seconds, and you just get a feeling that Martin Fourcade is going to try. Well, where is he? Try and close this down quickly. Shapulin not overly stressed in his movements on the skis. He will have seen how close Martin Fourcade is to him, and Landy's there as well, Landertinger.
Very efficient skiing from Shapulin. He knows all about the importance of 1, making sure you hit the standing targets, but 2, saving some energy for that final loop. And this is what we were talking about this morning, Mike. The ability to float over the snow when it's as soft as this.
He's a big guy, Shapulin. He's what, 6'3", probably 78, 79 kilos.
France were 9.9 behind. Austria were 11.1. Landertinger doing exactly the right thing. Germany at 20.5, only 9 seconds down on the Austrians. And of course, it's all going to come down to that final standing shoot. Landetinger's record in the stand this season, 72%. Compare that with Simon Schemp of Germany, who's just behind him, 85.
Blimey. And Austria last year took 4th position at the World Championships. The year before that, Contiolahti, they were 5th. They did take 3rd at the Olympics, though.
Martin Fourcade, you won't be surprised to hear, has the best standing shoot record of the leading 4 athletes, so he'll still believe that France can take this one. Russia, France, Austria, the order as it's been for a while now. Germany, at the last shout, were 20.5 off the pace of the leaders. Now it's 22.5, so a little reprieve for the Austrians.
Further back, Patrick, we didn't see much of Johannes Tinger's bow. He came in at 124 behind. He's now 154 behind, using 2 spare rounds.
Yeah, and Norway still in 8th position, USA still in 7, Italy still 6, 106 behind. Good fight between the Italians and the Ukrainians for a top 5 here today. Well, we might hear from Benedikt Doll in the next couple of minutes, but keep your eyes peeled, because Shipulin, although he doesn't look as though he's racing that hard, is still covering the ground very, very well. 9.9, his lead at the moment, and we'll get another readout at 3.9. Here is Benedikt. Asked him how his shooting went. He said he's frustrated, annoyed by the fact that he took 3 spares to finish his shooting. And he says the excitement is almost unbearable, and it certainly affects your action. So he's not happy that he produced his best performance, but he loves racing in the relays, and he's hoping that Germany can get back into this. He says a lot of teams using their best athletes at the beginning, but Germany, Russia, France, of course, using their best athletes at the end. So thanks to Benedikt Doll. He's absolutely right, Mike. The big nations always save the big gun for the end.
They do. Look at Shipulin. He was the keenest man and the fastest man skiing around that little loop to get his pulse up for the zeroing, the centering off the rifles. And he's doing a grand job for Russia right now. Schemp, on the other hand, Patrick, we saw that first lap, and often the first lap can take so much fight out of your legs. He's now lost from his prone shoot, he's lost 5 seconds to the lead.
1 shoot remaining, and Russia, who are still the Olympic champions, 3 podiums from 3 relays so far in 2017. Are they about to become the world champions? So Shipulin along the range, and he has it to himself. Apart from the 1, 2, 3, 4 teams that he is now lapping, all those athletes will be pulled out of the race to avoid any confusion later on. A big, big moment for Russia. Just 1 bronze from the mixed relay on day 1. A gold medal today might set them up for more tomorrow in the 2 mass starts. Here we go, 5 out of 5 to give himself his best chance. We saw him dry shooting before the race. He looked very, very solid, and he's looking solid again. There's the first miss from Shipulin. An opportunity, watch Fourcade. First one down, 2, 3. He's going to be 2 shots behind, but that could be as little as 5 seconds. It's a ski race between Russia and France again. Exactly the same situation as we saw for the fight in the silver medal in the mixed relay. And Austria, 1 target remaining. This is a tough one. Down it goes. So Austria and Germany racing for the bronze. Have you ever seen anything like this? Have Austria still got a chance? How much has Simon Schemp got left to give after working so hard in the early stages? Landetinger's hung on in there to try and stay with Russia and France, and now he's got to prove himself. Perhaps the biggest 2 kilometers of his life, Mike, trying to bring Austria their first medal of the 2017 championship.
And you know, you've got to feel a little for Landetinger. Last season his ski form was wonderful. This season he's been flat since after Christmas. He would love to be in his best form.
Well, the ski speed has been good for the Austrians so far, so the ski preparation's been key, but we know that Schemp has a devastating sprint finish. Landetinger, if he's going to win this one, may have to make his break on the big climb.
Well, they know they've got 50 seconds ahead of the next team, so and I think they're quite aware that this is not a fight for gold or silver.
Isn't it extraordinary that this is the battle we saw on the first day, but Fourcade on this occasion doesn't have the opportunity or the luxury of playing cat and mouse, Mike. He's got to go flat out to try and close that gap down, and both Schipulin and Fourcade have gone out very, very hard.
Schipulin especially, it was 4.2 seconds next timing check. I think Schipulin has opened that gap up quite nicely.
Schemp more than happy to sit in behind the big man Landetinger. He knows that he can beat Landetinger over the last 200 metres. Landy might have to rethink his tactics.
The Austrian coaches, Landy isn't thinking now, he's on survival, but I think the coaches will say back off, let Schemp go ahead for some time and try and find some magic for the last part of this race.
Is Fourcade going to find these 5 seconds easy to close down?
Remember day one, the rivalry that was electric. Never has there been such an electric press conference. These two did shake hands 2 days later, but it means so much for Russia and Schipulin to take this title.
1,500 metres to go. It would be one apiece because, of course, France got the silver medal ahead of Russia in that mixed relay. And as you say, Schipulin looks the hungrier of the two, but Fourcade desperately wants to be in a winning French team. And actually, in one of his early victories, he said, I'm so keen that the team do well and get a gold medal because I want the rest of my teammates to feel how good it is to stand on top of the podium. Something that he's done time and time again this season.
To lose 3 seconds though at 1.1 kilometre, that's very strange for Fourcade. He knows that he had to close it down quickly. He hasn't achieved that.
Fourcade, the strongest by far on the big climbs, Mike, and there is one big climb remaining on this race course. Landetinger and Schemp. Schemp is sitting in. He's on a Sunday stroll at the moment. So Landetinger's got to use his local knowledge, and he's got to outwit Schemp if he's going to get this bronze medal.
Landetinger knows that Schemp is the best finisher in all out of the 26 athletes on the last leg here, and I think he's playing into his hands. He's trying to go early now. That's a good move from Landy. No, it's not.
Well, he's got to keep Schemp on his toes, hasn't he? And I thought Landetinger climbed the big climb very, very well on the first lap. The question is, has he still got the strength in his legs to do it again? We'll get you an update on the two leaders when they get halfway up the climb. We'll have another split time up there, but last thing we saw, Fourcade 7 seconds down on Anton Schipulin and running out of snow to win this one. Landy goes again. This is a big burst for him. This is the bid for the bronze medal for Austria, and he's got to keep this going right the way to the top of the climb.
He knows he has to take the sting out of the sprint, which Schemp always has, and Schemp is struggling. Now Landy will be struggling as well.
But Landetinger keeps the tempo going. How many times has he been up this climb? Hundreds and hundreds of times, perhaps thousands in the training routines, and suddenly it looks as though there's a gap appearing. But Landetinger he's still got 1,000 metres to go, so it is not over quite yet.
Well,
but what a phenomenal bit of skiing by Dominic Landetinger.
From a man, Patrick, who's got no form coming into these championships, he's found magic from somewhere, and home snow, his tracks that he knows so well. Can he survive? His legs are absolutely spent.
Sensational stuff. Martin Fourcade has been out-skied by Anton Schipulin, who looks as though he's heading home for gold. But that is the most unbelievable bit of skiing we've seen this season. And it's not Schipulin, it's not Fourcade, it's not Bjorndalen, it's Dominic Landetinger of Austria who has brought the crowd to life.
Well, Schipulin as well, he's dead man skiing. He's got hardly any balance left on his legs. He's really taken the sting completely out of Fourcade, and he did it early.
One apiece to Schipulin and Martin Fourcade, and they go head-to-head again tomorrow in the mass start. That is going to be another epic battle. But today belongs to the Russians. The Olympic champions from 2014 become the world champions from 2017. What a performance. Volkov, Svetkov, Babikov and Schipulin, the man who held his nerve and held off Martin Fourcade.
And you know what? They only used 3 spare rounds throughout their whole race.
But this is the moment that these championships have been waiting for. In 2005, Austria finished in third behind Russia. Today, they finish in third behind France. They have their first medal. Well done to Dominic Landertinger. That was quite sensational, Mike.
Well, and Schemp was taken completely by surprise. He thought there's no way that Landertinger can hold that pace. He did.
Mesetic, Eberhardt, Simonada, couple of heart attack moments from Simonada, and then Dominic Landertinger, Landy as he's known, right the way through the Biathlon World Cup family. He has just put a big, big smile on the 2017 championships. How he did that, how he kept that pace going for so long, I just don't know. There are your winners, your gold medalists, led of course by Anton Shapulin. A good solid lap. Any weaknesses in the Russian team, Mike?
Well, the worry, I thought Shvetkov, I said he would lose 18 to 20 seconds. He didn't have the ski speed, but he's got the wonderful shooting.
So Germany off the podium for a rare occasion. Italy crawling across the line, but delighted. That is a really outstanding performance from the Italians. Ranked 8, they've come in 5th position. Hoffer, Windisch, brilliant, right up with the leaders at the halfway stage.
At the last check, Johannes Tingesbo was still in 8th. Norway in 8th position behind the Americans.
Yeah, Norway, of course, the defending champions. Things not going their way. The shooting has been the issue. Tarjei Bo on the penalty loop. But I don't think we can blame him exclusively, and we shouldn't focus on the Norwegians at all. It should all be about the bronze medalists here today. Austria with a blistering performance from Dominic Landertinger. That is how to climb a hill.
Do you know, we've got to give the Austrian team so much praise. Athletes that are flat, they've all been in good form, but it was earlier in the season, and they really have brought magic to the races today.
Well, it's so important in all sport that a mix of nationalities get a taste of success. Norway, second in the medal table in Oslo last year. They've been very, very strong on the World Cup tour this year. It's not their day. It is Austria's day. France, I think, will consult. They won't be happy with silver because they desperately want to win a second World Championship relay. But the Russians just too strong on the day, and it was the shooting that did it.
Who would have thought 4.2 seconds, that's all that Martin Fourcade had to pull back. The miracle man just couldn't find the magic today.
Well, these championships just continue to amaze. We've seen the best